Hi everybody, Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is what I've been making today. Now at first glance it doesn't look terribly interesting, does it? But if I just catch hold of this piece here and I just slide this out, all of a sudden I have glorious colour. Push it back in and it's black and white. Pull it out and it's in colour. Now, magicians never reveal their secrets, as you know, but I'm going to show you how I made this card, so stick with me and we'll get on with it. For the front panel of the card, I've got a piece of dapper denim, which is 4 5/8 by 5 1/4. I have a 4-inch square of Myth and Magic DSP, 2 4-inch squares of Whisper White, piece of dapper denim which is 2 inches by 3 7/8 of an inch, and I have a piece of Whisper White and a piece of window sheet, and they are, let me just check my notes, 3 1/4 by 4 inches. A little strip of Whisper White which is 4 inches by 1/2 inch. I'm using Magical Day. I'm stamping in Archival Black and Crumb Cake. I'm going to colour in using some of my blends, and I'm also going to use a little bit of my clear Wink of Stella, and I'm going to use my layering squares framelets. One other thing that I'm going to use is a 1-inch circle punch. I've got my piece of dapper denim with the longer edge along the top of my my scoreboard, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. And now I'm going to rotate the card, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch, and one more time, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. And I don't know if you can hear noises off, but Misty is sitting beside me knocking things off the table. Okay, so that's that one, and this is my little piece this is going to form the handle that pulls the slider out of the card, and I'm going to make 4 scores 1/2 inch apart, so 1/2 inch, 1 inch and 1 1/2 inches, and of course my 4th score would be at 2 inches. And I have one of my 4-inch squares of Whisper White, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch along one side, and I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to mark at 1/4 inch along the top there. Next thing I want to do is to cut the apertures out of these pieces, and I'm using, I think this is about the 3rd to largest of the layering squares framelets. I just picked one that framed my image well. So to make sure that everything lines up and I get them where I want them to be, I've created myself a template. Now all I did was took a bit of scrap card and drew lines from corner to corner on both sides, and from the midpoint edge to edge, and then I used that to help me line up my die so that it would be in the middle of my card. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my piece of DSP, and I'm going to stick those 2 pieces together with a bit of low tack tape, like so, and then this will go into the middle, just like that, and then I'm going to run that through my big shot, and then when I've done that I'm going to use this piece again onto the middle of this piece and cut an aperture which I hope will be in the right place. So I'm going to go away and do that, and I'll be back in I'm taking my DSP and lining it up with my card, and I'm just going to tack that in place with a bit of low tack tape. Turn that over so I can see where I've previously punched, and snip that bit out. I can take that bit away, and I've got one of my pieces of 4x4, and again I'm lining that up with the top of my card, and there's my bit of tape, reuse that bit, and the noises off you can hear are Misty was having a jolly good scratch. And yeah, when I did the first version of this card, I forgot to do this bit and it didn't end well. So try and remember to do this at this point. You will save yourself an awful lot of pain and suffering. Okay, so now I have those three pieces which all line up together, and I'm going to stick this piece onto the front of that, and I'm going to burnish my foot. This is the piece of thick white card that I scored at 1/2 inch from the bottom and marked at 1/4 inch from the other side. And what I want to do now is I want to cut some slits into the card. So I've marked 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. I'm going to line that up with the 1/2 inch mark in my Stampin' trimmer. I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm going to line it up so that the little point on the tip of the blade here lines up with one of my pencil lines, and I'm going to cut down as far as the other. And I'm going to turn the card over and I'm going to do the same thing. If you haven't got one of these nifty little trimmers, then obviously you can do this with a craft knife, but now I have my piece of card with 2 slits cut. To do my stamping, I am going to use my Stamparatus. So I've got my little wizard stamp here, and I've marked the 4 corners of where my aperture is going to come using my template, and I'm just popping him pretty much where I want him to be in that aperture. Okay, and I've moved him over towards the left a little bit because I want room for the magic sparkles to show. Okay, so I'm just going to pick him up on my stamping plate, and I'm going to find my little magic sparkles, and I think I'll do him first. I'll do the magic sparkles afterwards, I think. So I'm going to begin with crumb cake ink, and I'm going to apply my ink to my stamp. Press down, hold it, make sure I apply pressure all over the back of the stamp, and there he is. And now I'm going to decide where I want the little magic sparkles to go, and about there looks good. So I pick them up on my other plate, ink those up, and away we go. Right, so now I want to stamp onto my window sheet. So making sure I've got this the right side up. So next I'm going to stamp onto my window sheet. So I'm going to put that into my Stamparatus. And I know it's very hard to see, but I have got it pushed into that corner there, same as my first piece. And now this time I'm just going to wipe off that stamp. This time I'm going to ink up with basic black archival. And archival will dry on acetate. Now, without using some kind of stamping platform, first of all, I would not be confident that I was going to be stamping in the exact same place, and second of all, I'm stamping onto acetate and it's slippery, and I really don't want to make a mess of it. And I'm not going to do the sparkles there because they're not going to appear until the magic happens. But if I now line these up, so you can see I have perfect registration between those two images, and I'm going to put this on one side for the ink to dry, and then we'll move on to the colouring. So while the archival is drying on the window sheet, I'm going to work on my little crumb cake image here. Now, the reason why I stamped in crumb cake was that if there was a problem with registering the two images, it would look more like a shadow and not like a double line, but the registration part of it has worked perfectly. I'm using my stamping blends because this ink is water-based, and I've got ivory, light and dark smoky slate, light and dark rich raspberry, and I've got some light daffodil delight, which I'm going to start with because I'm just going to do a little cloud of colour around my sparkles there. So I'm going to fast forward through this bit, talk to you at the other side. An extra piece of the thick card. This is I've cut a little piece of the thick card, and this is 4 inches by ½ inch, and I've marked the halfway point on the card, and I've marked the halfway point on the back of my my coloured piece, and I'm just going to put some tear and tape along there. Just like that. I'm just going to line up the two centres. Now you could do this by eye if you're good at gauging you know, So now I've got 2 little ears sticking out on either side of my wizard. And I'm just going to line those pieces up so that they match exactly. And I've got a stapler, and as you can see, I should have said I put a little bit of Wink of Stella over that bit so it's nice and sparkly. So I'm just going to line those up so that they match exactly, and I'm just going to put a staple in at the top there just to hold everything together. Time to start putting it all together now, and I'm going to start by putting the handle onto the slider piece. Now I've got tear and tape along the 2 outside edges on this side and on the 2 inside edges on this side. So I'm going to start by taking the backing off and folding these edges in. Okay, so now I've got a nice tight slider, and I'm going to kind of do this by eye. So I'm just going to sort of centre that, and at the moment I'm not putting any pressure at all till I'm happy that that is centred. I can go. Let's try that. And what I'm trying to do is by eye sort of line up my edges there. And if I had any sense at all, I would have got some grid paper. But I didn't. So I'm going to bring this piece over the top and press it down firmly. And as long as it holds at the ends, it'll be fine. Okay, and that is going to be the handle that I use to pull my piece in and out. Okay. So this is my backer piece, the bit that the slide is going to run up and down on, and I've got tear and tape on this edge here, and if I flip it over, I've got tear and tape along these sides right up to the edge. All right, because the way this is going to work is that this is going to fit in like that. So I'm going to sandwich that piece between those two pieces. Okay, and to make it a little bit easier for these pieces to hook on, which I'll show you in a minute, I've just taken my snips and I've just snipped in about 1/4 of an inch from that edge there, and from that edge there right along that 1/2 inch piece of Whisper White there. So here, this is how we do it. So we're going to pull that over the top like that, and then I'm going to hook that through that edge, and this one through that slot, so that it sits on top of the backer. Alright, I'm just checking on the other side to make sure that nothing is fouling the edge yet, and that needs to come a little bit more that way to be centered. Oh yes, it does. There we go. There we go. Press that down firmly to make sure that the tape is taken. Okay. So next, I'm going to take the tear and tape off the bottom part here. Oh, come back, little wizard. Don't fly away. And now I'm going to line that up along that bottom edge. Let me bring it in so you can see it properly. Just there. There we go. Fold that down into place. And now on this side, take the backing off these pieces of tape. Keep this straight and press that down. Okay. So this now is nearly finished. All I need to do now is to put the front panel on. I've already applied tear and tape. I'm just going to get my piercing tool under control, and I'm just going to snip and up into the corner, and snip at a diagonal and into the corner, so that I wind up with that sort of shape there. Can you see it? Alright, I'm going to take off the backing. Now, when I'm lining this piece in, I'm aligning the edge of it with the outer crease. Alright, because I want there to be room at the front of the card, if that makes sense. And I want this piece to have room to move. So by doing it so that it lines up with the outer piece, that will make that happen for me. Okay, same thing here, lining it up with the outer edge. Can you see that's got a little spine there? That one does the same thing. I'm just going to press that tape down. I think the cold weather's gotten into my tearing tape. There we go. And there it is. So here's the finished card, and if I pull out my slider, there he is in glorious colour. Pop him back in again, and he returns to black and white. Now this kind of card, like most cards that have got moving parts to them, does work better if you run it through a few cycles. So, you know, just practice sliding it out and sliding it back in again, and giving it a little bit of a wiggle when it doesn't want to go in at the end. Now I've actually shaved just a little bit off the corners there, just to try and make them glide back in more easily, and I will probably, if you can see, that's popping open, so I'm probably going to apply some liquid adhesive in there just to you know, just to make that hold really, really well. Now I will be honest with you, this is actually the second incarnation of this type of card. The picture at the end of the video today is of the first version I did. I made a couple of schoolgirl errors, I will be absolutely honest with you. The first one was I decided, no, I'm going to try and make the whole of the front panel out of this DSP. It didn't work well, because this particular kind of paper, it's almost like a card, but it's got how can I put it, like a glossy finish in places on the back with encapsulated glitter, and when I tried folding it, it didn't like it at all, and it just cracked. I did try and save it by sponging ink along the cracked bits, but you know what, it was too far gone. It wasn't worth saving. The other thing that I forgot to do was to punch out this little piece here, and I did have a go at doing it later on in the process, and again I did it, but it wasn't elegant. So I decided, you know what, I will reuse the bits of the first project that I can, but I will redo it again. So full disclosure here, guys, this one was a bit of a journey. But I do thank you for staying with me to the end of this video, and I would love it if you came back and saw me again soon. But for now, thanks for joining me. Bye bye.